3, 2, 1. Hello. Welcome to the Bingo Avenger podcast. I am Gory.
There are very few people who watch this, and I think we just lost half of our viewer base.
You didn't say your name.
I'm Jake, if in case you thought otherwise.
Who knows? Maybe people jump in like mid to late season.
Yeah.
You know? It's like the people who go and watch Friends for the first time, but they jump in at season 4. Or just like any series where there's like a ton of seasons.
You know what I've never understood? Like, on YouTube, you can see like how many viewers have seen stuff. I'm always confused when like it'll be like a series on YouTube, and for some reason, like somewhere in the middle, like one of the videos will have like 1 million, and the rest just have like a couple 100,000. It's like I get some people like rewatch it, but it's like, are all of them rewatches, or are some people just like bouncing around?
I think what it comes down to is people are trying to find the source of like whatever funny clip they saw on Twitter or Instagram. Because like I know, for at least myself, if I find like a funny clip or whatever on Instagram, like I'm going through and there's like some meme page, if there's like a longer video, I try to find it on YouTube. And so maybe it would be like a short cutout clip of like a series, and people are just going straight for that.
I guess. But like you don't get any of the context of like what it is exactly. You might as well just search for the clip.
I think at that point, then, like, if the clip itself is good enough without context, I think with could be even better. Well, so maybe that's why people are pursuing it.
Well, it's better with context, so wouldn't you just see, like, the whole series? Because then you get all the context.
I don't know. Well, I mean, think of it
it's
this
like
way.
Kingdom Hearts with the ice cream.
I'm not explaining that to you again.
I don't think you have to.
You know what? I'll just chalk it up to this. Kingdom Hearts is complicated, and it needs to be in order for it to be compelling. But you know what? I'm fine with it. I love the games, so we're going to move on from that. But legit, like, what it comes down to is people don't really want to spend like a significant period of time trying to catch up on something when they could just go to a YouTube video or look up like a blog post and have it be summarized. Like, while I was watching Game of Thrones, I found a series on YouTube where this guy made, I believe it was 3 to 4 minute like rapid reviews of each season, and it would fill you in perfectly on everything important that happened. Like, I watched it after watching the first two seasons, and I'm like, yeah, you watch this and you get the whole, pretty much what you need to know. And so I think this day and age, like, I guess, for example, anyone who wanted to watch Breaking Bad has already watched it, and anyone who's curious about what it's about, there's a plethora of reviews and analysis videos on YouTube where they could just go and pretty much be able to just be like, yeah, I feel like I watched this series.
Yeah, but like, if I wanted to use like let's say I wanted to use, or even just find the I am the danger like clip, I would just look for the clip. I wouldn't like go to the episode to watch it and be like, oh, there it is. Like, well, no.
I feel like it's different when it comes to online versus like a television series. Because I feel like the way that people approach like online media, just in general, it's always going to be different. Like, while there is a big push of like making it a bit more like not to say professional, not to say that it wasn't professional in some regard before, but like having it be like more of a push for like series and things like that.
Well, let me use an online example. Have you seen I have no idea how like popular it is, but I've been seeing this like red versus blue meme, where it's, I want to say it's
wait, that's illegal?
Yeah, wait, that's illegal.
Yeah.
Like, that can't be longer than like a second. Like, I would just try to find the image. I wouldn't like try to find the episode for that.
Well, I feel like the the community breeds that meme. It isn't like
not
it's
that you
just
shouldn't
like,
watch the series because it is a good and funny series.
oh
But
great, new season's out right now.
yeah, I still haven't seen Shizno,
I
and
need to finish Shizno.
yeah, I didn't watch it because I didn't have a first membership.
And now you mooch off of me.
Yeah, now I mooch off of you, and they uploaded like every episode on Red vs. Blue channel. Like all of them in one day, and they were all uploaded like out of order too. Because it was all just like in mass, but
I feel like that might like I don't want to say that that's done on purpose, but knowing the series and how that whole season is about paradoxes, like
that's going to be considered like the canonical way to view it.
yeah, it would be like Star Wars.
Oh god.
Oh man, I don't like. That's actually something I'm going to kind of rant about a little bit. I really don't like it when there's like, say there's a franchise like Resident Evil, where there's a ton of games in the franchise and people make their own sort of like, if you want the best experience with the story, you got to play it in this order, like.
Yeah.
Or being like, this is the only way to experience the games right. If you play like 2 first, then 3, then 1, then 6. I know that's probably wildly out of order, but I'm just throwing numbers out. But like, I don't like that because I like to experience the games the way that like I do, which is I find them, think they're cool, play it, and then when people are like, oh, there's more in the series, right? And I'm like, oh, sweet.
I can like kind of get that. I mean, yeah. Yeah, like, I get that. I've been, or at least my plan is, like, I've been playing some Dark Souls recently, and I started with 3, and I've been told it's good to work your way backwards from 3 to 2 to 1, and then getting into, like, Bloodborne, which, like, I have no idea how much that really matters, but, like, yeah.
It honestly doesn't.
Some of it's for, like, the meta reason of, like, the first Dark Souls is, like, kind of old at this point, right?
Or
I guess, like, the better way to put it is, like, it's not as, like, optimized, I guess.
Yeah, it's...
Which is the same reason why I started with The Witcher 3 and haven't worked backwards, because I don't want to deal with the controls.
Yeah, like, I'll put it this way, like, if people are going to play an Elder Scrolls game, usually they jump to either, like, Morrowind or Skyrim.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to go back to, like, Tribunal or, like, Blood Moon.
Some people are, like, die-hard, like, Morrowind and Oblivion fans, even though, like, I would argue they're definitely, like, products of their time. But, like, people will complain about Skyrim being, like, too, like, simplified. Yeah. Also, I've gone around, like, the Elder Scrolls subreddit, and it gets very toxic with how people feel about what the best game is.
And just for those in the audience who don't understand, of their time is our nice way of saying they don't age well.
Yes, because, much like my opinion of films, people weren't really sure what they were doing back in the day, but they've, like, kind of upped their standards.
That's... Wow. Because, like, that's real,
no, like,
though.
That's legit. Yeah, like, exactly. Like, when the first films were made, they're like, oh, okay, we'll treat it like theater. Let's just have a camera in one place and never move it and have, like, 20-minute scenes all shot at once.
Yeah, and now it's like, hey, you're lucky to get a film that doesn't have shaky cam.
And, like, ever since I, like, started looking at film from, like, that history perspective, like, I've, like, started dating films by what they do with the camera. Because, like, back in the day, they literally could not move the camera because it was too big and heavy.
Yeah,
but, like, now you have people, like, you know, like, throwing cameras off of, like, staircases to, like, get, like, moving shots.
Yeah, and you have, like, what's that kit where it's you can put the camera in it and you can set it to be a specific angle and it's on like a rotating axis and it will stay perfectly like leveled wherever you put it, and you can like move the entire crane arm around it.
Oh yeah. I don't remember.
They don't only have that for like film cameras too. They have it for consumer grade stuff, which is crazy to me.
Dude, I saw a video recently. Mm-hmm. It was just like a compilation of different like single take film techniques. Mm. Some of them are fucking crazy.
Well, like what? Describe one.
Okay, one that I saw that was amazing was it was a Charlie Chaplin shot. So it was like pretty old school. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the one where like Chaplin's like on roller skates?
Oh yeah, and he's in the
riding
mall.
Dangerously close to the edge. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
He was in no danger of falling because the way it worked was he was on like basically like a stage or like a platform, and that fall was all just like an illusion. That was like a 2D illusion that was like closer up to the camera, but it was lined up so perfectly that like it looked like there was an edge there.
That's crazy.
If I can find the clip, like I'll overlay it to like show people. Like it is actually like brilliant.
Well, yeah,
it's literally just forced perspective.
That's like those perspective. Have you seen like the sidewalk, like chalk perspective things where you look down and it's like there's a canyon or something like that?
Yeah.
Like throw up like maybe one or two of those pictures too. Hey, looks like we're blowing the editing budget this time.
But like, what's really impressive about the Chaplin one is like, there's also just like a plank of wood that's just like off the edge, and they just cut that out on the like foreground thing that's supposed to look like the fall. It's like it looks like it's completely done in like one take.
Jeez.
But it's all forced perspective.
Jeez.
And they did a similar thing with I want to say it was like Buster Keaton when he's like hanging off the clock tower.
Oh wait, I know what video you're talking about. That's the same thing.
Like it's just like a very short fall.
Yeah, but it's just like the way...
Like, it looks like he's really tall up, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool to me when you see things like that. Or, what was that? What's that one film where there's a dance sequence and the guy's going on the ceiling and on the walls and things like that, and it's in, like, the whole stage that he's on is actually rotating?
I don't remember.
We watched it back in the film class that we were in. I don't know, it was...
Oh god, I'm pulling a blank on that one.
It was, like, really cool. I'll try to find the clip and send it to you so you can put it in.
Yeah.
But...
And like, another one, just, like, really quick that I thought was amazing was, it was this Bud Light ad, and it started with having, like, 2 cans in the shot, and then throughout the commercial, the camera, like, weaves between them, and as it, like, goes between the 2 cans, it reveals, like, 2 or 3 other cans and a big like pint of beer in the background, and like it basically looks like CGI with like all the cans hiding behind like one of them until the camera moves. But they use something I had never seen before. It's like it's basically a camera that's in a tube that like weaves between the cans, and they've just like lined it up so perfectly that it just hides all of them.
Imagine how many takes.
It's a really trippy shot. Like when you see that, you're going to be like, "Oh shit, that was like real."
That's really because, man,
and the way they got that shot was with like a crane arm that could just like so precisely like weave between the cans and not like push any of them.
Dude, film is cool. Like, there's so much cool stuff when it comes to cinematography.
There's so much specialized technology for it that like. Literally anything is possible these days.
Yeah, like, man.
Honestly, I might just put up, like, a compilation of, like, all the different, like, crazy film techniques that, like, can be used.
Yeah, you could have that like, running for a little bit. Why not?
Yeah, like I talked about the one where, like, I mentioned, like, throwing a camera off, like, a set of stairs. But there's one where there's, like, this spiral, like, staircase. And, like, what they did was someone, like, held the camera... And then, when someone was, like, walking down the set of stairs, they literally just lowered the camera on some rope. and used like I'm guessing like some kind of Steadicam thing to like keep it balanced, like looking down as the guy was going down the stairs.
Oh man,
Like it's just crazy what they do,
'cause
and you don't even think about it because it's so like perfectly like executed. You don't even think about like how they do it.
that's another cool thing where it's like you go from something where it's like this high grade like Hollywood set type stuff, and then you hear something like this where it's just rope.
Yeah,
And
they just loaded it on a rope,
like
and they had like some balancing stuff.
you can do so much with so little in film, like especially because
Yeah.
nowadays most smartphone cameras are strictly good enough for like say you want to make a short film on and put it on YouTube and stuff. It's so small and so versatile in what you can put it in and what you can do with it that it opens up a whole like plethora of other things that you can do.
Yeah.
But man, yeah. Just run some of these videos while we're talking. These are dope.
Yeah. And like it's crazy what you can do with video, especially as someone who's been working with actual film recently, and it is an entire pain in the ass.
Yeah, I remember you were like you were swearing nonstop the other night.
like literally like it's crazy, man. Like I was editing for an hour and a half the other day, and like I didn't even get through like 3 minutes of film. Mind you, I did have like a friend with me that I was talking with, but most of the time I was working like while I was talking, and like still just between like setting it up and then looking through the footage and then figuring out where you want to cut and then finding where you want to cut before then actually cutting it and then cutting the edges to cut out the excess, and then you have to put it back into this little like splicer tool. Then you gotta put the tape on, and then you gotta stamp it out to clear up the sprocket holes, and then you gotta put it back on the reel so you can watch through it again to see how the cut was. That's just one cut.
Like it makes you like it puts into perspective how much we take for granted the like online software that we have for videos these days.
It really does. This entire class has been me being like, how did people make feature films out of this? Like,
There's still people that do.
I got like, yeah, like I have like 6 feet of film. No, 6 feet? No, 200 feet for 6 minutes, and like it's basically like a foot across when it's rolled onto like a reel, and like people have like 100-minute films. Like, I don't even want to think about like how you edit that. I really don't.
I mean, I guess that kind of still like the length of editing, like the time it takes, is still like a big thing in Hollywood, because you can have like a film, filmed everything, all the actors and everything are done, like say like 3 months then, and then the rest of that year is just editing.
It's just editing, but like at least sometimes there will be like editing teams that will like divvy it up and spread out a little bit more. But like
in old Hollywood,
still,
it was like a lot of the directors would edit their own stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, so much respect. Hey, speaking of sort of past technologies, but not really.
Yeah.
So, Cuphead. Because it's animated in the fucking oldie thing.
Cuphead. They played it back in 1920s.
Yeah, 1920s when. Yeah.
Right next to a ball and stick on a string.
Yeah, if you wave the stick around fast enough, you get the first boss in Cuphead.
Yeah,
you
dude.
You get to fight a giant carrot. But the reason I want to bring it up.
That's what they play. That's what they played during the Great Depression.
Well, Father was out trying to get a job, but Billy played Cuphead, trying to beat the devil.
After his dad beat the devil out of him.
He got stuck on the Queen Bee. His father was not pleased.
Oh god.
But
yeah.
He didn't get a slice of bread that week.
And no one did in the family.
That's bad. That's bad.
Dude, on another side note, it's almost going to be the 20s again.
Yeah, I know, but let's not jump subjects before I say what the other thing was about.
No, Corey, you're not allowed to change topics. Only I can do that. I'm the editing boy. I control what we talk about.
You were making that joke earlier, and I was so hesitant to start recording because you kept on making those jokes. But anyways, the reason I want to bring up Cuphead is last week Nintendo did this thing that they do at a GDC, which is called the Nindies event, where they show off a bunch of indie games that are going to be coming to Nintendo systems. And one of the big announcements that they had was in partnership with Microsoft and Studio MDHR, they're bringing Cuphead to the Switch. And seeing how that's one of the best exclusives that Microsoft has, like that's huge. And by exclusives, I mean purely from console, because I know that Cuphead's on Steam. In fact, that's how I played it.
Yeah.
But that's really big because essentially it's showing, like, us, the consumer, that Nintendo and Microsoft are going to be doing more together to try to get games like onto each other's systems. Like, imagine booting up Mario Odyssey on a Xbox One X.
That'd be pretty cool. Or on a PC.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Halo PC. I think we already mentioned that last episode.
Yeah, we probably did.
Like, Microsoft is opening itself up more, which does make me think that they're not going to lean as heavy into console type stuff anymore. Not to say that they won't support it. Like, they'll still release stuff, but like...
Oh yeah, probably.
Like, definitely a lot of the future is streaming. And hell, Google's jumping on that bandwagon, which also at GDC was announced Google Stadia, which for anyone who's listening that doesn't know what Google Stadia is, me neither. But apparently, it's a...
Moving on.
Apparently, what they're going to be trying to do is make it so that streaming like high-end games, like high-end AAA or indie games, they're going to try to make it as accessible as possible to everybody. And so what they were saying, because I watched the conference that they had a few times, actually, just to make sure that I'm wrapping my head around it right. But an example that they gave was, say you're on YouTube and you're watching like the trailer for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There'd be a button that shows up that says play now. And when you click that, you're brought to a new window where you can just start playing the game. And they're trying to have little to no latency. So that's because that's one big thing that was a reason that streaming games has been kind of seen as like, oh, why? Is because of input lag. Mm-hmm. And anyone who's played any game or used any kind of software, like, you don't enjoy input lag. Like, that's just something, like, when you tap something, you want it to work, and when it takes a few seconds or a little bit too long to, it feels weird. Like, say, for example, for anyone who doesn't really play games, but they use, like, apps and stuff, Instagram. When you go to refresh the page, if it takes a little bit too long, you feel kind of like, is there something wrong? What's going on? Imagine having that, but every action you take. And that's pretty much the equivalent of input lag in games. The reason I'm skeptical about this whole system is because the controller that they have, that they're releasing for it, it doesn't connect to your computer, but rather it connects to Wi-Fi and connects to the server. I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, we kind of talked about this before, like a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I still stand by my thought that if anyone could really do it, I think it would be Google. Just because, like, between having the money and, like, I would assume they have the resources if they want to do that.
Well, they said they had like thousands of nodes that are across like multiple continents, so they could feasibly stream everything and like get it very close to 1-to-1. I think the most recent test that they had was, I believe it was 166 milliseconds of input lag.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
It is not bad.
And I mean,
but it,
like, they're not the only ones going into streaming, video game streaming technology. So, like,
I know Nvidia tried to do it for a while.
Nvidia's trying to do it. Microsoft is doing it. Who knows, like, who else is going to get into it?
Well, there's the Switch test in Japan for streaming Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, and the Switch. And there's probably going to be, I'm assuming there's going to be others that are going to pop up as kind of like, that's going to be the one thing they do, as opposed to like, oh, we're going to try streaming services. Like, no, they're going to be like dedicated. Like, we are the, like, streaming, like, game company.
What everyone's trying to do is become the Netflix of gaming.
Yeah.
Where it's like a service that everyone can pick up and use. And I feel like if anything's going to be that, it's going to be Xbox Game Pass.
Maybe. But like,
it's already so huge, and seeing how, like, there's rumors with like them bringing it to Switch and everything. Like, I feel like that's feasible. I feel like that would get them a stupid amount of money. And if Sony doesn't go in on it, because I know they have their PlayStation Now service, but I don't know. I feel like the way that Xbox approached it, like a little bit faster and a bit more clean than PlayStation did, I think that's going to help them a lot in the long run.
Yeah. But I think, like, the point to keep in mind is, like, there is the competition that's going to, like, force people to want to get better. So, like, even if Google's Stadia does have, like, some input lag, if they want people to use it, they're going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, they're going to have either, like, better connections or better servers, or, like, they're going to do something that's going to make it easier and better.
Because you look at this, and this is all just pre-launch. Like, they said that they're going to be launching it late this year, which means fall or winter. I'd be surprised if they push it for the summer, to be honest. Because like, the way they talked about it and a lot of things that they showed off, it seemed more of like a proof of concept rather than a fully fleshed out finished product. Because I mean, you got some cool games going on there. I mean, you have Odyssey, you have Doom Eternal, but aside from that, they really didn't talk too much about other games.
Yeah.
And if anything, like that, if there's one thing that time and time again it like is like a thing that I always go to when it comes to the success of a console or a company. Games sell the console. The console could have whatever cool bells and whistles, or like whatever service you have could have like the screen share type thing where you can send a link of where you are in that game to a friend and have them pick up right where you are. Like, that's cool, but if there's no interesting games for me to play aside from like maybe a few like AAA titles, then I'm not going to be into it. Like for all intents and purposes, I'm going to talk about the Switch for a bit, because I feel like the Nintendo Switch already has like great third-party support, and it's only going to get stronger because you have like Behemoth Games is going to be put in Castle Crashers Remastered on it, and like you have Candace of Hyrule, which is the Crypt of the Necrodancer and Legend of Zelda crossover. Like, those are really cool games and interesting concepts, and so many just, I don't know. I think it's cool. I think the Switch is cool, and I think games are cool in general. And as long as you have fun games, I'll support the system. But if I don't have anything interesting to play on it, I'm not going to buy it, which is kind of why I'm waiting to buy a PS4, because honestly, the only thing I'd play on it is KH3.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of other good games on the PlayStation 4.
Well, I don't doubt that, but like the only one that really catches my eye is that, because I mean, I played a bunch of those games in the franchise before, and I attempted to explain it to you. Like, I'm not getting into it because I already said earlier that I wouldn't get into it, but like, I like the games that I've played from it, and I heard the gameplay in 3 is really, really good, and the story is okay. That's not like the best in the series, but it's still good. And the fact that like they tried to get a lot of the original voice actors for the different worlds, and well, actresses, of course. So like, I was over someone's house a little while back, and we sat down and watched the Toy Story cutscenes, and it's just a Pixar film. It's like a Pixar short film. It's so cool to just hear like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen and just like having that, because you would have other like licensed video games where they couldn't get the actors and they just get some guy who can do a really good impersonation of them, and it would just always feel really disjointed and disconnected. But like, I mean, I understand like people are busy, but it's also like it's just nice to hear their voice.
Yeah. Like this would be going a little bit off topic, but I've heard like I've had a couple of conversations about when either when like a new voice actor plays a role, or even when like a new actor entirely, if it's live action, if like a new actor takes up a role, and like what the importance of that is in terms of like not like, I guess entertainment isn't really the right word, but like the experience you get out of it. Like I personally tend to like really notice when they get like someone new to do something. Like I've talked with people who like have like a disconnect between like the actors and who they play as. A specific moment that I remember was, I want to say it was for Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. But it might not have been, but let's just say it was. They said that they didn't believe that Harrison Ford playing an older version of his character in the newer Blade Runner movie, he said that that's not how he imagined the aged up character to look like. Even though it was the same actor as the original. And like, I just found that interesting that like it didn't fit what they thought they would look like, even though it's literally who like is portraying them, staying like consistent.
I think what it really comes down to is just everybody has an idea in their head of what they want something to look like, and the moment that's different, it's just like there's going to be uproar.
Yeah.
Like, if there's changes that are like blatantly like, say, go against the book, go against the source material, like whatever, then I understand that. Like, for example, let's talk about a movie that doesn't deserve to be talked about in 2019, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Oh yeah.
They changed one of the main characters' like entire appearance, because she's supposed to have like blonde hair and I believe blue eyes, and it's like brown hair, brown eyes or whatever. And like, if you're a great actress and you fit the role, then like awesome, and take creative liberties if you want. But like, I remember one point in the book, like, if I remember correctly, Percy remembers her purely because of her hair. I might be thinking of something else though, so don't like take that for fact. But there was enough changes in that film, and like removal of certain key scenes, that it felt very disjointed. It felt rushed. It's kind of like the Ready Player One movie, where they had to remove an entire section of the book in order to meet the runtime.
I mean, like, I remember reading the Percy Jackson books. I remember not really caring. Like, I remember thinking that the movie was good. So, I have no idea if I'm a good judge of character or not.
I don't know. It was just really weird for me to, like, when I was younger, to read the books and then go see the movie and just have it be like, wait, who's that supposed to be? Oh, wait, that's her? Like, I forget the names and everything because this was back in middle school, but I'm still bitter.
I think one of the names was Boromir.
Was that the girl?
No. Wasn't Sean Bean in the movie?
Sean Bean.
Was he with, like, Poseidon or something?
I think so. I'm gonna
Yeah, so
look
Boromir.
this up, Jeez, was he in that movie? Brandon T. Jackson was Grover. That's weird.
I feel like
Sean Bean was Zeus.
Oh, Zeus. Okay, close enough.
What? I forgot about that.
I didn't.
Steve Coogan
I
was
think this
Hades?
is one of the few films he didn't just immediately die in.
Uma Thurman was in this?
Really? Is who?
Yeah, she was Medusa.
Oh.
Man, her biggest role. And we forgot.
I feel like there was someone else that, like, I remember from that movie, but, like, I'm not sure if I'm just going crazy or not.
Say it. I have the cast list open.
I don't remember their name, which I should know by now, but, let's see, what would he have been in that you might know? He played, Logan, Wolverine's brother in the Origins movie. If you remember him.
Wolverine's brother, X-Men... Oh, so wait, Sabretooth.
Yeah, the actor for that.
Let me see.
Was he in that? I don't know why I'm imagining him in that.
Mark Ashton? Or I can't fucking pronounce it.
Maybe?
Oh wait, no, it's Leave Scriber, whatever. Put a picture up now. I guess.
Google, tell me.
He was Wilson Fisk in Into the Spider-Verse.
Was he?
Yeah. All right, I want to scroll down to 2010. No, I don't think he was in that.
Yeah,
film.
Liev Schreiber.
I don't think he was in that.
Oh.
He was in
Yeah,
Salt. That movie was bad.
Oh, was it?
I did not like Salt.
Oh, let's see. I know him from Origins and Ray Donovan.
But
yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So, anyways,
yeah,
a lot of people will get upset over things if they're different than what they envision it to be, and so you can never please everyone. And
yes, it is not exactly how I imagined it to the T. I am going to complain on the internet.
Well, that's the entirety of r/Gamein.
And then I'm going to leave a bad review, and then it's going to be removed so that only the good reviews are there, and then people are going to outroar about the system being broken.
Oh man, wait, you know what that reminds me of?
The film industry?
Well, film industry, and also there's a big controversy around this, like back in the early 2000s. Do you know of the Drivergate scandal?
Drivergate?
So, back when I believe GTA was, I think it was only released in, I think either 3 or Vice City. But around that time, their sort of competition was a series called Driver.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this game, Driver 3, which was being hyped up because it had like all these vehicles and a huge open world and like so many things to do in it. And a lot of it actually did work. But the problem is that the I forget the publisher, but they pushed for it to be released like as like I think it was either a Christmas title or a summer title, and they cut the development time in half.
Mm-hmm.
And so before that, in order to try to make sure that they would get like the sales and the hype and everything, they paid a bunch of reviewers to give it glowing reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But then once it released and everyone realized it was a buggy mess, they were like, how could you review it so high and everything? And then it slowly revealed that they paid off these reviewers, and it was just this whole mess, and I believe the studio shut down because of that. And the sad part is that Driver 3, or just Driver with the 3 as an E, because early 2000s creativity was kind of at an all-time low. That is a joke. And I can't wait for people to throw things at me and say, no, think about moon shoes. I don't know. Were moon shoes creative?
Yeah. I mean, they're big shoes that you can jump in.
It was just a plastic container with rubber bands of lies, because they would just record all of the commercials like from a low angle, so it actually looked like you were jumping really, really high.
Yeah. I mean, you probably felt like you were jumping high because, like, you'd probably, like, drop because of the rubber bands, and then you'd be like, oh, look how high I'm jumping because rubber.
But, like, if anything, then... What am I trying to say? If anything, that's like, when you're a baby and they have those bouncy chairs that are in, like, a donut, like, plastic donut thing, and they have bands on it, and you just kind of bounce around?
Yeah.
That's just like the child version of that, where they outgrow that, but you still want to like calm them down. You just put moon shoes on them and have them bounce in place.
I mean, at least moon shoes are more creative than like the backyard like water slides. All right,
Slip
hear me
and
out.
Slides.
Hear me out. Are you kidding me? Hear me out.
Okay, I'm hearing you out.
Hear me out. We get a tarp. Okay, hear me out. We put it outside. Hear me out. Hear me out. We don't pitch it up or anything. Hear me out. We put water on it. We're done.
And you run at it.
We're done.
Yeah, you know what?
Let the kids go wild.
Yeah. You know what? It was successful though. Early 2000s, 90s. I think it was even around the 80s.
Like the original water slides are like really dumb. Like they're literally just sheets of plastic. If you have the money, they come with sprinklers in them.
Yeah.
Until you get the ones that are basically like bouncy castles that you spray water on. Like they're nothing special.
Yeah, bouncy castles you spray water on, or then they have the ones that can blow up to be huge, and there's like a little pool on the bottom, and you get a slide or whatever.
Or they have like an obstacle course or something.
There's still a part of me that really wants to buy one of those.
I know there is.
Like, I'm going to like save up and just get one of those and just go to the center of like downtown Nashua and just blow it up and see if anybody wants to play.
No, you should just go into like
a Target, set it up in the middle of it.
This is going to make no sense to anyone outside of southern New Hampshire, but you should just bring it to like the Oval and just set it up. And
wait, the Milford Oval?
Yeah, the Milford Oval, like right outside River House. Like that area, just like set up out there and just see what people do.
Yeah, just don't even touch it, don't even mess with it myself. It's like a social experiment.
Like you didn't get any permission, just see like who bothers to like be like, you can't do that, sir.
Yeah, just excuse me, what are you doing? And it's like having a good old day in the sun, sir.
I don't know about you, but I'm being refreshed.
Yeah. It's like,
you want to join me?
Did I ever send you? It's one of my favorite videos, and I don't know if we can put it in the video because there might be something bad in it. But
something bad.
It's just this video. It's this guy, and he's sitting in the shower, and he has like his mouth open, and it's just a very close. It's like a close up of his face, like you don't see anything else, and it's just like he's just sitting there calmly, and then 3 seconds in, he violently coughs up water, and it ends. It's just, and that's it. I don't know why, but it's one of the funniest things to me. Man, I hope I still have it. I don't think it was on YouTube, but I can.
Man, we've gone all over the place.
Well, that's what happens when you're like, when I'm like, hey, what should we talk about for this episode? And you're like, we're good.
I mean, a lot of the time when we try to plan it, we'll just kind of like stop talking and be like, So anyway, we wanted to talk about what we're doing for PAX East. It's like
That happens
too, like-
anyways.
no, this time it was pretty smooth.
Okay, well, you know what?
I like to think, at least.
Yeah, I like to think it would that go.
I made the transition from cool editing techniques to film out of nowhere.
To Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief.
Yeah, to Percy Jackson, and
It's something
then
about
to water
Cuphead.
slides because moon shoes weren't creative.
I just love. In conclusions, moon shoes aren't creative. If there's anything you're taking away from this episode, don't invest.
That's my thesis statement.
Yeah, if you're going to get moon shoes, you got to go to the moon, and then you'll actually, be able to use them like the fucking commercials.
Except you won't, because I don't think spacesuit shoes would fit in moon shoes. Unless you made them industrial sized.
What if the next like mission to like another planet and everything, instead of giving the astronauts boots and stuff, they just give them high tops and moon shoes?
They give them like a fish bowl to put on their head.
It's like SpongeBob with like the bowls
just
of
like
water.
the classic. Yep.
Oh my goodness, man! And then you think of like, hey, let's tie it into old film. You see like I forget his last name, but it was like George Medlis or something like that. It was a French filmmaker, and you look at his Trip to the Moon movie, and it's literally like the moon has a face, and they fly into the eye of the moon, and it's just these like Englishmen dressed in like coats and suits and have tall top hats, and they're just walking around on a foreign planet like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love depictions of like space.
It's basically as if they like walked through the wardrobe in Narnia, like, okay, we're doing this now.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Or pretty much any episode of Star Trek.
Imagine if we
or
get
Star
to the
Wars.
point when like we could have technology like that.
Where we could just walk into the empty void of space and live.
I would love that.
There's been a lot of like interesting sci-fi takes on that. And like how that could be like possible. Well, not possible, but how it makes like some sense. Like I saw this one video from a channel that I follow that was like trying to come up with a way you could like do space travel without needing spacesuits. And their original way of trying to tackle that was, instead of having space be empty, what if space was full of like air and like had an atmosphere?
I was going to say space is full of stuff, like not air, but stuff.
Well, not like a lot of stuff though. It's very little stuff in big areas. But like his idea was like, what if space was like full of air? But like he went into why that wouldn't really be feasible, because like it would mess with how like physics works.
Well, at least our understanding of it.
Yeah, our understanding of it, and like it wouldn't be as feasible, because like even if you managed to get it to have like planets not go absolutely crazy because of all the gravitational fields and science stuff, how like you would be able to travel through space without dealing, well, if it was full of oxygen, you'd have to deal with like the drag of flying through air in a spaceship, which would be a ton of trouble.
Yeah, because it's already like an incredible amount of thrust that's needed to break through the atmosphere itself.
Yeah, to break through the atmosphere, and then you have to like take into account like you even still have to take into account like the gravity of like any like, you know, bodies of like mass that you're going to be flying by in order to land where you want to go. But like if you have to deal with drag on top of that, that's going to be even more trouble. But yeah,
man, we have been very educational this episode. We talked about film, we talked about space, talked about slip and slides.
we could be even more scientific. I read the title of an article about quantum computing, and apparently they reversed time
What?
on like a very like minute, and from what I read of like the abstract part at the like top of the article, it was like simulated time reversal, but obviously they clickbaited it to be like, we can reverse time.
I can simulate time reversal right now. Jake, cut the last 1 second so that it feels like this video skipped.
Dude, the crazy thing about time travel is that if someone were to travel back in time, we'd never know it.
Well, yeah,
So
because
even
it
if
would
we
have
did
already
make
happened.
that cut, if we did make that cut, no one would know that the time travel happened.
And also, for just time travel in general, any and all effects that would happen because of said time travel would have already happened for us.
Yeah.
So for all
And
we
like
know,
every edit of every mistake that we make is just an edit of time.
Yeah, so technically we've always been able to manipulate time in some regard as far as like...
Which is why this episode is going to be unedited.
No.
Oh.
I coughed a lot. You might want to remove that so that like people can actually hear. Or you know what? You could boost it. Boost it by 300% and add a stupid amount of reverb so it just echoes for the rest of the episode.
300%, and then just every speaker and headset that plays the podcast just explodes.
You know what? How about we don't do that? Because we need to keep some viewer base when we eventually open the merch.
And not just have their heads explode.
Man. But, ooh, hey, Jake.
Yeah.
You see that? You know what episode number this is?
15.
You know what the next episode is?
16, my favorite Cartoon Network TV show.
I forgot about that show. But, like, I'm going to keep going with what I was saying, and then we can talk a little bit about that before we end things. But, like...
Okay.
Because, you know what? I'm into it. But, not only is it 16, but it's also going to be the season finale.
You know what else it's going to be?
Special?
It's going to be the family-friendly episode.
Yeah, the family-friendly episode, because I can't swear in front of my parents.
Who else is going to be there? Is your brother going to be there?
He would destroy your
really
mic.
Can't swear in front of him.
He would destroy your mic. So...
Hey, buddy.
he would pick it up and run away and unplug it.
Just like, hey, buddy. Ah.
That's the episode.
That's the entire...
You know
no,
what?
it's at, and then, like, the Dark Souls, like, death sound effect.
But yeah, next week is a super special, ultra special, which will be important for people to watch. So for the 4 people who still listen to this all the way through, feel free. Okay, you can keep that, but feel free. Feel free to let other people know that it's going to be a little important. Because
I mean, it's... I mostly say this as a joke, but also, like, in some seriousness, it's gonna be a pretty great crossover. That, like, it's like your birth family did.
Yeah, it's going to be fully explaining everything that kind of happened as far as like how back in contact, what we're going to be doing while they're here, that kind of thing. It'll be nice. It'll be nice.
And I'm going to be completely silent.
Well, no, you're going to ask questions. You're going to be like the proctor. It'll be
So which one's your favorite?
So who's your favorite? You just stare at her.
So which one's your favorite and why is it Corey? Is it because he's so handsome?
If you do that, I will be very angry.
You beat me up live on the podcast. In front of your family.
The first and last episode with face cam is me beating the shit out of you.
The first and last episode I ever air in.
Jeez. I just have Whitney do an impression of you.
The week after is just like me in the hospital and all you hear is like the beep of my heart rate monitor.
You have a wired jaw so you can't talk and you have to drink.
At the end of that episode I just flatline.
Oh no. I don't like that anymore.
I've been Corey.
Okay, but you know what? Since you mentioned it, 16. What the fuck was that show? Anyways, thanks for listening to the Pixel Venture podcast. This episode sucked.
Great commentary. I think it's been great.
Yeah, it's been great. Wow, what an episode.
It has been an episode.
Tune in next week for something cool, and then tune in for the week after for nothing.
Because we're gonna be
2-year hiatus.
Going big.
2-year hiatus.
Another 2 years.
Let's go. People waited.
Yeah, did.
And we're patient, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, 2-year hiatus. Well, we will live stream our graduation.
Yeah, we'll commentate over them. Like, as we're on stage, it's like, man, this diploma's stupid. I spent $20,000 to get...
Everyone's, like, throwing their hats, and, like, half the people get, like, stabbed as they come down.
I spent $20,000 to tell people I read books. Sweet.
20,000. Try 20,000 a semester.
Well, look, I'm at a community college right now, alright? But I'm moving. I'm going to move to a school where I'm not going to be able to say I'm not in debt, so, you know, that's cool.
Well, look at you.
Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast. I'm Corey.
And I'm Jake.
And we'll see you, as well as a few other people, next week.
See you.
Bye!
Technically, we'll be talking to them.
Jake!